MPP Gram, you said that you want to see the amendments in the criminal code. We as a Canadian want to see the amendments. But question lies here that when we talk to the federal counterparts, federal ministers, they say the amendments has already been done twice and we have the laws in place. Now the ball is in the province court. When we talk to the province, they say federal need to step up. They need to keep the criminals behind the jail and bail reform should be there. So where is this big disconnect? Why Canadians see these kind of passing the bucks between two level of governments?
Yeah, I was disappointed to hear the Justice Minister, Arif Irani's comments on Monday, the first day they're back at Parliament, where he said, basically, that the federal government changed the criminal code properly and there's no problem, nothing to see here, it's all in the province's hands. The reality is in 2019, when the federal government passed Bill C-75, their stated goal was to codify principles of restraint and be as least restrictive as they could possibly be to the accused. We think that the justice system exists to keep neighborhoods and keep residents safe, not to make sure that accused people or suspected criminals are comfortable and happy. They brought in Bill C-48 earlier this year. They made some good changes, but nowhere near enough for the mess that they created in the first place back in 2019. So I've heard this argument where they say Ontario appoints the judges. And we heard the Justice Minister of Canada say this on Monday in the House of Commons. Yes, we appoint judges. Yes, we appoint justice of the peace. But the way our system works, we don't tell them what to do. We have a line there. How do judges make their decision? They make it based on the criminal code, which is written by federal politicians and something that we need substantial bail reform on.
So how to break this deadlock? If federal says, that's the question, like if federal says we already made the changes and province says federal need to step up, they are not stepping up, you are into a new portfolio, how to break this deadlock?
Well, I'd say politicians of all kinds respond to the public. So I think continuing public pressure on the federal government to make substantial criminal code reform is one piece of it. But we're also stepping up on our own side. It's not just enough for us to say the federal government has to step up. We're looking at what we can do in Ontario to do better. We put a $100 million investment in bail compliance teams to make sure that we're monitoring offenders while they're out on bail. We've just announced the appointment that we'll be appointing at a minimum 25 new judges across Ontario with 190 court staff, Crown prosecutors and other court support staff to make sure that we are seeing cases happen in a quick manner and a reasonable manner. So we're beefing up the justice system to the capacity that we can. We're hiring more police, putting them on our streets, and we're giving police the equipment and the tools and the resources they need to do their jobs effectively. There are things we can do better in Ontario. We're certainly doing that. But for the federal government to say it's all on the provinces, job done here, frankly, I find ridiculous and I find insulting to the dozens of police leaders, politicians, members of the public who have been demanding substantial bail reform, who warned them at the time in 2019 that the changes that they were making would have bad consequences, who are now being told now that, don't worry, criminal code's fine. It's all the province's fault. I don't accept that, and I don't think that's appropriate.